you. I'm so happy to be here. If you don't know me, I am a CPA, serial entrepreneur. And what that means is that I started a lot of businesses that didn't work out. So I am here today to present business training on Wave Apps. And if you don't know what Wave Apps is, you're going to get a nice surprise here, because Wave Apps, I believe, is making, well, I'll go through the presentation right here. But my goal with this is to help you, to show you how to make your business simple, fun, and profitable. And I've been listening to a lot of people here, and, you know, obviously, business is not easy. You know, that's the general consensus that I'm getting here. And the problem is, let's identify the problem. The real problem is this, that when we're born, life is not easy. We don't come into the world laughing. We come in crying, kicking and screaming. And I love this quote because it made me realize that it wasn't just me that life was difficult for. It's complicated. And what's insane, what makes us unique individuals as entrepreneurs is we go into business and we make it even harder. Okay, so if you're not in business yet and you think you know it's going to be easy, it's not going to be easy, and you have to accept that. And this is the plight of the entrepreneur. I went into business because I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be independent. I wanted freedom. I wanted my lifestyle. I wanted security. And what I found out was that it wasn't so easy. It was expensive. It took up all of my time. It was stressful. And it's lonely, you know, especially in this, the way we do business now. Most of us are solopreneurs. You know, we work from home. We're not in offices. You know, I don't know about you, but even before COVID, I was isolated. So it ain't easy. And I got a rude awakening. And I'm going to tell you this short story. I know Elizabeth loves this. My ice cream truck story. Before I graduated college, I wanted to really see if I knew how to do business. And I had, you know, leased an ice cream truck before, but it was more like Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams ice cream truck. Okay, Elizabeth, I know I got you laughing. So anyway, I said, I am going to be a world-class entrepreneur. I'm going to do this right, and I'm going to prove it to everybody. I leased a truck, and I ran it like a business. I mean, I had Wednesday snow cone specials. I had books and records. I had a map. You know, the owner of the ice cream leasing company looked at me like, who the hell are you? Nobody does this. You know, I actually had to go to the library and make a copy of a map, and I mapped out nobody did that stuff. And I'll never forget, it was August of 1984. And I turned down this tree-lined street, and I was just like, this is it. I did it. I made money. I proved it. And, you know, it was going to be easy. All I had to do was get my accounting degree, get some business experience, and I was going to be like, you know, the next Richard Branson. Okay. And that's how I went into business. With that unreal expectations, thinking that I could do anything. And I don't know if anybody could relate to that. But what happened was I got a rude awakening. 6 months into my CPA career, I got a letter from the New York State Tax Department that said tax warrant. And I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know what I did. And I was working in a CPA firm, so you would think that I would have just asked one of the accountants there, but I was too embarrassed. And I actually, and I'm not joking, I thought I had to hire a tax attorney. I thought they were actually going to arrest me. And I didn't know what I did. What happened was when I leased the ice cream truck, I registered as a sales tax vendor, and the government, who I didn't know I had to answer to, the government wanted to know what I was doing. And all they wanted really was a form. And all I had to do was send them a form that said, I'm out of business. It was an ice cream truck. I don't owe you any money. But for 3 days and nights, I tortured myself. And I just realized that this isn't going to be easy. And I realized why so many of the clients that were coming in and out of the office, they didn't look too happy. They were coming into, they looked like very unhappy, confused people. That was my first experience in business. And it turns out that that's the way it normally is. According to Forbes, 8 out of 10 businesses fail. I know Janet before was doing the numbers, and I kept putting up 98, 98, because that's what it really is, folks. It's not 8 out of 10, it's not 5 out of 10. If you do the numbers, I guarantee you that if you start a business today, you are probably 98 to 99%. Your chances are 99 to 98% that it's not going to work. Okay. And so, like, for myself, I could tell you, I literally have started at least 30 businesses, 30 businesses in my life. A couple of them I sold so that they didn't fail, but, I sold them. Obviously, I only have one business now, so the rest of them are all gone. So when we go into business, the real problem is, the unreal expectations, the mass confusion, and it's too damn complicated. Listen, I can't tell you how much time I have to spend re-educating myself on what paperwork has to be filed for a small business. You need an attorney and a CPA to open up a hot dog stand in New York City. And I'm not kidding, because of all the paperwork that you got to file, you got to collect sales tax, you got to answer to the health department. Who could ever start a business without experience and do it successfully? It is almost impossible. It is impossible for anybody to just start a business and run it successfully and not have any, trials and tribulations. It just doesn't happen. So how do we fix this? Another thing that entrepreneurs do is we overcomplicate everything. So so the picture is this: we go into business, the chances are better than not that we're not going to succeed. We got all kinds of moving parts. And now you got to deal with the government. You got to hire an accountant. I'm sorry, but that it's going to have to happen at some point. But at some point, when you're in business, you got to get a hold of what's going on. You got to organize everything. And the easiest, safest way that I have seen, I've been doing this over 35 years. I have worked with thousands, literally thousands of small business owners. I have created accounting systems for large companies, for small companies. I've used every kind of program out there. You know, I love what Janet was talking about with the structure and having the right tools. But Wave Apps is by far the easiest, safest, most efficient program that I have ever seen to help people organize their finances, so that we could finally take the mystery out of the numbers. You know, unfortunately, folks, if you're in business, and I know a lot of people, I saw the chat box that a lot of people don't like numbers, but you know, you signed up for this. When you decided to go into business, you signed up. When you look at the fine print, when you sign your tax return, you are attesting on the penalties of perjury that all the information on your tax return is correct. Okay, I have a whole, I have a course I'm putting together. It's called New Business Mastery. And I have a whole checklist of all the different government agencies that are looking at you. And you don't even know it. But once you register, and especially in today's world with technology, once you register, you are on the radar. There is no hiding, okay? So if you're a business owner, be a business owner. Whether you like numbers or not, you got to get them more. And it doesn't mean that you have to organize everything. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how Wave Apps works. I'm going to show you, here's a couple of the features. Like I said, it's safe, it's simple, it's very, very secure. This is important because, you know, as an accountant, I need to get access to clients' statements, their bank records, their credit card statements, PayPal. And, you know, normally, so like with my clients, a lot of them just give me access. Well, with Wave Apps, you don't have to give anybody access to your accounts, which is amazing. See, people give me access through Wave Apps and they think that I can get into their bank account. I cannot. All I can do, all it does is it creates a secure connection. So I can't pay bills, and it's not me. You know, I'm a CPA. Hopefully, if somebody gives me that access, I have their trust already. But I might have a bookkeeper, and maybe it's not me that's doing it, or maybe you have you know, there are other accountants out there. Maybe they have a bookkeeper. So all you need to know is that if you're working with Wave Apps and you give somebody access, you're not giving them access to your accounts. So that's important. The invoicing, I'm going to take you through an exercise today where I'm going to show you how simple it is to do bookkeeping, to do invoicing. I'm going to put myself on the line here, and I'm going to actually set up a Wave company from scratch. And I'm going to show you within 3 minutes, I will have the company set up. And I'm going to send Elizabeth an invoice. Okay? You can easily track income and listen, that's all we need to do when you're in business. You just it's simple. It's simple. That's the objective. And yes, you got to save documents. And guess what? Wave Apps, you could actually attach the document to the program. So you have your records there, and you have your document, your backup document. You can record the bills. You can't actually pay bills. I think that that's going to be coming, but you can record your bills. You could link just about any bank and any credit card, and there are a few that don't link, you know, the credit cards, but then there's ways to get that. And usually you can import. So if you can't do a bank feed or a credit card feed, you can simply import, and there's integrations. You know, it's now working. Well, Well, everything works with the Zapier program. I know Haley introduced me to that. But there are some integrations, and they are coming up with more features. See, what I think happened was I was with Wave like 3 or 4 years ago, and it really wasn't that good. But I think H&R Block bought them, and the technology just went through the roof. And what they're doing now, the next feature is they're going to actually have, they're going to be a bank. They're going to issue, so you could invoice, you can use Wave apps as a bank. You can get a debit card, you're going to be able to withdraw money from an ATM. And what I like about that is there's no banking fees. It's free checking. The benefits that you're going to get, you're going to link directly to your CPA. Hopefully that's me. Okay, that's important, because part of the reason why so many people fail is because they don't have the guidance and support of their accountant. Maybe they go to the office. You know, there's a disconnect there. Before computers, people, I used to drive to my client, sit there, go through their books, compile the numbers, and then talk to the client about it. That's how accounting was done. We did accounting and tax return before computers, believe it or not. I used a lead pencil and a spreadsheet. I mean, a real spreadsheet, not a program. And that's how the communication, there was always communication between the client and the accountant. And once QuickBooks got on the scene, accountants forgot how to do accounting. That's what I believe. And that is a whole nother story. And we'll talk a little bit about QuickBooks. Obviously, it's going to save you time, a lot of time. Once you have these numbers, and I know a few of you are on here are my clients, so you know, once you have your numbers and you can log in and see your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement, you know, I don't know about you, but it would make me very, very uncomfortable not knowing my numbers. I mean, I became an accountant, not because I wanted to be an accountant, believe it or not. My father tricked me into that. Elizabeth thinks it's a true story. When I was 17, my father told me that CPAs run businesses, and that's what I wanted to do. So lo and behold, I became an accountant. And I thought it was because I was going to learn about, well, I did learn about business. But it dawned on me at 17, I said, well, if I'm an accountant, then I'll learn all about business, and then I don't have to go to somebody to find out. So, you know, if you have that foundation, I believe it's got to reduce the stress. It's got to make it easier for you to do business. It's what you don't know that's going to hurt you. Okay? The numbers aren't that bad. They're not going to bite you. And you're going to gain confidence, and that's what happens with my clients. When I finally get their numbers in order and able to explain what's going on, now we have a reference point. And this was perfect to go after Nicole and Janet, because this is what we want. You know, we want the plan, we want the point of reference, and it's going to help you stay on track. Because believe me, if something's going on in your business and I'm doing my job and I'm looking at the numbers and something's out of whack, I'm going to bring it to your attention. And I'm going to bring it to your attention with real-time financial reports. You know, I have to tell you, people, I've worked with some large companies, and you would be surprised that $10 million companies don't even do bank reconciliations. Okay, large companies I've gone into had absolutely no accounting systems. Well, those companies aren't around anymore. They go out of business. You know, I've seen big companies just spiral out of control because they never got a hold of their financials and they never got to know their numbers. So let's go into this. What I'm going to show you is the Wave app setup. I'm going to show you how to link your credit cards, the chart of accounts. I'm going to show you how to do your invoicing, and then how to access your key financial reports. And I'm going to go through some of the settings. You know, the important thing is that by the time this is over, you're going to know how to set up your Wave app account. Some other tidbits that you're going to get. This is like redundant. Before Wave apps, so I'm going to start measuring time as before Wave apps and after Wave apps. Before Wave apps, we only had QuickBooks. I mean, we've had other things, but QuickBooks just dominated the whole industry for the last 30 years. And QuickBooks, to me, is like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. You don't think that's funny, Elizabeth? It is like killing a fly, and QuickBooks has destroyed more businesses than you could imagine. And it's because, like Janet was pointing out, that people use QuickBooks when they didn't have to. A lot of people use spreadsheets, and they still use spreadsheets. But spreadsheets weren't designed to do bookkeeping. It's inefficient. It's not a good way to do your accounting. Okay, if you want to run your business like a business owner, you're going to keep real-time financials. You know, how do you think a guy like Richard Branson went from owning a record store to the guy who owns over 400 businesses now? I think they pretty much have their numbers down. You don't get big and successful without knowing your numbers. And the thing with the spreadsheets is that you got to do data entry. And that's really, or you have the shoebox system. This is another good one. The shoebox system, if any of you are using the shoebox system, don't use that system anymore. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up another screen, and I'm going to go into there it is. Okay. So now this is, I'm signing up for a new Wave app account. Okay, I'm going to use a different email. So I'm really putting myself on the line here because I don't know if this is, you know, I could get hung up. I could look like an idiot. I'm not afraid of that because, okay, you run payroll. I only pay myself. And don't be a sole proprietor. That's all another thing. We want to be an S Corp. That's another training we're going to tell you about what type of entity you need. Okay, so you see now I'm in. I didn't have to give them all kinds of useless information like you do in QuickBooks. I'm in. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to connect an account. Okay, there's nothing in here. I'm going to go to the transactions. Okay, so there's nothing in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is connect a bank. And I'm going to connect my Citibank account, which I'm about to close down. Just getting my username and password here, folks. So as soon as, okay, so now it's going to send me an email because I'm on, you got to verify that it's me. I should have a drum roll or some music playing here. Okay, so we are set up now. I got the transactions. I got $12.26 in this account. The transactions are coming in, and let's see if they are in there yet. Nothing yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is what. So the account is connected, but I didn't import the transaction. So now this is the amazing thing about Wave apps. It will go as far back as possible, or I could put a date in here. So I'm going to go back as far as possible. So now it's importing. And so this is one of the things that makes Wave so powerful, because you don't have to do any data entry. So sometimes it takes a couple of minutes. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go to, as this is populating, the info should start coming in. Let's try that again. Import. Okay. Now it's important. Okay. So the next thing I want to show you here is the invoicing. So I told you that I can have this set up and send Elizabeth a bill. Okay, so now I can put my logo in here. Let's put that in. And we're going to bill Elizabeth.
Are you going to get her to send you lots and lots of money?
I'm going to link it right to your account. There.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay. So Elizabeth owes me $10,000 for accounting stuff. And here's the invoice. And we're going to send it. Okay, so now, it's got features. You can do this on your phone. The next thing I want to show you. So now I've actually set up my company and I billed Elizabeth $10,000. I see you're counting the money there, Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, so I'm short on time here. Let's go down to accounting, and I'm going to show you the other important aspect of this is your chart of accounts. Now, if you're familiar with QuickBooks, this is not set up like QuickBooks. It's set up by categories here. You've got assets, your liabilities, your income, your expenses, and your equity. So when you set this up, it already comes with predefined accounts. So I just go with this, and then if something isn't in here, you can easily add an account. You can put in your own categories that's appropriate for your business. So I want to go back up here now. So you see, okay, so now what happened was you see all of those transactions came in. And this will go back for years. I only had this account open for a couple of months. I needed it to do some transactions and we close it down. But if you've ever done data entry or bookkeeping or anything, this is an amazingly powerful feature. And what's even better is reconciling it. And I'm not going to go through that with you, but it reconciles in record time. If you've ever had to do a bank rec in QuickBooks, it's not, you can't even compare them. And the only thing left to do now is to categorize everything. And there's a way to do that. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm not going to, go through the exactly how to do that, but I do want to show you. Here's the key reports. So now what happens is it sucked in all of that information. And now I'm going to look at my my financials. So it doesn't know automatically where to put anything. So it's just going to go into uncategorized pretty much. But the thing is, all the transactions are here, and now I'm in a position where I could actually put my numbers together. Now, if I was a business owner, and you could see that I just set up my company, I put all of the transactions in, I'm set to do a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement. And if I'm working with my accountant in real time, they can come on here and say, and go through all of the transactions with me. So, and this is important for the communication between the accountant and the client or your bookkeeper. And that's the relationship that's been missing for the last 30 years, people. Okay, I remember what it was like when I first started in accounting. And, people they would never think about doing their own bookkeeping. Okay, but somehow they started doing their own bookkeeping and they lost that connection with their trusted advisor. So I think that's, I wanted to, down here is integrations. So it'll integrate with Google Sheet and PayPal. And then you have all these Zapier things. There's a bunch of other features here, but I think I showed you pretty much the most important stuff that I wanted to show you today. I do have a couple of bonus slides that I want to share with you. Okay, here is my bonus info. Hello, Haley's cat. I knew she'd show up sometime.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
been in and out all afternoon.
Okay, so if you've been bored to death with the accounting stuff, I apologize. So I decided I was going to give you some bonus info just to make it a little exciting for you.
Ooh, right off.
What can you write off? And I know Elizabeth loves this stuff. I'm not going to talk about Section 179 or anything like that, but just basic stuff that people could write off that they don't, because they don't know that they can convert personal property into business use property. And what that means is if I take a desk that I bought, a long time ago and it's worth, let's say, $1,000, and I take that desk, that's my personal property, and I contribute it to the business, well, I can get a tax write-off for that, believe it or not. So I'm getting a tax write-off for something that I haven't spent any money on in a long time. Okay, and that's with anything. So if you have a home office, anything in the home office becomes business property. I do this a lot with clients, and people just don't know about this. Once you start a business, and that's another thing, the business starts when you say it does, and then you take action. Once you take action, you can generate tax write-offs. You don't have to have any revenue. In fact, most people don't have any revenue when they start out. Well, what if you have a W-2 job and you started this little side hustle? Well, you already have tax write-offs. So you go from an employee to now you have a side hustle, and you automatically have tax write-offs. The home office. Now, this is something that I used to shy away from because it raised red flags. But in today's world, people, everybody works from home. Everybody. And if you have a business, you need to be writing off part of your house or apartment and your car. You start a business, you get into your car and you drive to Staples for some copy paper, you have a tax write-off. And these are things that I see regular, full-time business owners usually don't miss these things. But there's a lot of new business owners. There's a lot of people that have jobs or retired and have income. And I see them, they don't do anything because they say, well, I don't have any income yet. Well, that's fine, but you still have tax write-offs. And travel. So in my business, I have to take continuing education every year. Well, they started doing the courses on cruise ships. Why do you need to do a tax course on a cruise ship? Well, it's a tax write-off. So I could mix my vacation. Yeah, you like that, right, Elizabeth? Right now, we're not going on any cruises, so don't book any tax write-off cruises. But there's a lot of possibilities. When people go into business, they don't take advantage of all the benefits that are out there simply because they don't know. So that's it. Haley, do we have time for questions? Any questions?
Absolutely.
And Haley, that cat is guarding your office, so you can buy cat food and write it off. It's a business deduction.
All the treats that people watch the cat eat on all my Facebook Lives.
I've done that with a client. He had a guard dog, and I said, we're writing that off, right? We wrote off all everything. Vet bills, it was a business deduction.
And Toby, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is the difference between this and QuickBooks Online?
It just works better. First of all, it's free. I forgot to mention that. It's free. And if you're a solopreneur, like I said, we overcomplicate things. In QuickBooks, is overcomplicated for most small businesses.
Maybe.
So that it's just simple, it's free, and it works better.
Okay. And why an S Corp?
Oh, you want to go into that subject now?
Briefly.
Okay, so sole proprietors get no tax benefits. You get got to pay Social Security tax on your net profit. You don't have a choice. You get no legal protection. And what people don't realize is sole proprietors get audited more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So when you're an S, so you can be an LLC and you could take care of the legal aspect, but it's not covering the tax aspect. You're still a sole proprietor for tax purposes.
Correct. Right.
So S Corps, and I could tell you 35 years, I have seen 3 S Corps audited, and they all had major red flags. Sole proprietors get audited all the time. All the time. That's why you don't want to be a sole proprietor.
Joe, I have a question. I put, real quick, how does it compare versus QuickBooks in terms of employees and payroll?
Well, Wave Apps does payroll in just about in a bunch of states. I haven't used them for payroll yet, to be honest with you. But it can do it, and it's cheaper than QuickBooks.
Okay, and it'll do, it does the same, like in terms of, do you know, of, doing your quarterly taxes?
Yeah,
And your
so
yearly tax?
they don't do full service in all the states yet. They do it in like 20 states where they'll do all the, impound the taxes and pay everything. What state are you in?
California.
Yeah, they do California.
Great, thank you so much. I'll definitely look
Yeah.
into it. It definitely, the platform looks a lot more simplified than QuickBooks. And like I was mentioning in the chat, what I have a challenge in doing the bookkeeping is the reconciliation. When you do it through QuickBooks, you'll do the daily run where it brings everything in, but it doesn't categorize everything. Sometimes it'll categorize things in places you don't want it to. And so you're having to do all this double work, and it just takes a lot of time. So I'll definitely look into it. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I can say I've
Thanks.
used QuickBooks for a while, or Wave for a while. Joe is making me move to QuickBooks because of the size of my team and stuff right now. But what I have found for Wave is that I can categorize and pre-categorize expenses. So I know if I spend money with this particular, vendor, that I can basically say, every time I pay this, I know that this is the category that it goes to. And I can group and batch that. So I never have to keep redoing that. And Woody says you can pre-categorize in QuickBooks as well.
Yeah, you can set up roles in QuickBooks.
Yeah, listen,
There's options.
Wave Apps is a great program for very small businesses, which most businesses are. There's 30 million businesses out there, 25 million have no employees. Okay, so that's most of them. It's not, if you start growing like Haley's businesses, you might outgrow it, but it's a great starting point. And the bank rec, Susie, let me explain how this works. How could I explain this? The info is coming right from the bank, okay? All you have to do is plug in the balance at the end of whatever, statement date, and everything clears. There is no checking off because you're reconciling everything you're not entering any data. I hope I'm making that clear. I could do a bank rec with 100 transactions in like 3 minutes, literally. Actually, 3 seconds sometimes. It's amazing. you know, I can get all excited about that because I'm an accountant. I know that that doesn't excite most people, but it saves a ton of time.
Well, I would think that anything that saves time increases compliance. I mean, there's definitely a point where your business does cross into the you have to do QuickBooks. But anything that you can do to ensure success and be compliant is going to improve your profitability. Because you'll,
Listen,
you know, this goes back to all of Janet's stuff. If you can't track it, you can't measure it, you won't know what you have.
and, you know, I've come to the conclusion that I know the crux of the problem is complexity. Everything is too damn complicated. I want to simplify as much as I can. And Wave Apps is, you know, I see it. I mean, I can handle a lot more clients. It's a lot more efficient. I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
Basically changed the focus of my whole business.
Yep. Very cool. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Let's give Joe a round of applause.